Greetings and welcome to Education and More's Learn Python 3 Programming at a Snail's Pace. My name is Marcus Gardner and I'm the instructor for this course. In today's video, we're going to learn about range, string, for, and length. Now I know we've already talked about a little bit about string. We're going to learn some more about string today. And of course, future videos we're going to learn even more. Strings are very important, so we got to make sure that you learn it in little pieces to make sure you can use the full capabilities of string and remember how to use them. For we touched on just a little bit last time, so we're going to learn a little bit more about for, mostly with the range statement, and then we're going to learn about length. Length is what we call a special method of string. Okay, actually we can use it for other things also. Okay, but anyway, it is a special method. You can call it a function if you like, because it looks like a function. It's what happens behind the scenes that makes it a method, but it's actually called a special method because normally methods are called a certain way. We'll learn about those later, but for right now you can call length a function or method or special method. I don't care. It's not really important right now. Okay, later on you'll learn exactly what I'm talking about, and then that's when you'll need to say, hey, this is a special method. Okay, all right, so range, what we have here is a starting position, a stop position, and a step. You know, normally when you count, for example, you count by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's your step of 1. You could do 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay, that's a step of 2. All right. So, but it's a little tricky because you will not reach the stop. Now, range has a default start of 0. If you don't specify the start, it's a 0. If you don't specify the step, it is a 1. But you need to specify the stop. Or do you? Again, like I always tell my students, try it. You're not a surgeon. Okay, so what if you get an error? Okay, you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. Okay, we really can't do much with range by itself, so we're going to do it with the for statement. Okay, so for counter in range 5, as I said, the default start is 0, default step is going to be 1, so this is actually going to go 0 to 5, but you do not reach the stop, so it's actually going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's give it a shot. All right, I've already got lesson 13 out for you, so let's go ahead and try this. For counter in range of 5. And let's see here, print counter. All right, save it, right click, there we go, Python lesson 13.py, and there we go, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now what happens, let's say here I do 5, 500, okay, comma 5. So this says start at 5 and go every 5. In other words, 5, 10, 15, 20, etc. All the way up to, you know, what's the answer? All the way up to 495. All right, let's see it. There we go. Oh, you can't see it. There we go. 495. Okay. And scroll back. And yes, it starts at 5. Okay. Okay. So now the step does not have to be positive. It can be negative. For example, let's say you wanted to pretend you're doing something for launching what do you call those? Rockets. Okay. We're going to do a countdown. Okay. From 10 to 0, but of course we're not going to reach it. There we go. 10, 9, 8. So what happened? What do I need to do if I want the 0? Well, if I want the 0, then I need to make this -1. Let's see if it works. Is negatives okay? And yes, it is. Okay. All right, question. What happens? 5. 3, 1. What's going to happen here? Okay. Now, your teacher either needs to tell you what's going to happen, or 2, you need to figure it out. Which one do you think you need to do here? You need to figure it out. I love making my students try things, okay? Again, you're not a surgeon. It doesn't matter. You're not going to mess things up. So, there are 2 possible things that could happen. You know, without having tried it, you're just now learning the 4 with the range. So, with what little information you have right now, there are 2 things that could happen. Well, actually 3. One, you can get an error. Said, hey, this doesn't look good. Your starting is after your final ending. Okay, that could give an error. Okay, that's a possibility. We got to consider it. 2, it could not run at all. It says, hey, I'm already past the end point. I'm just going to stop right here. Okay. And 3, it could go, okay, 5. Let's see. Have I reached 3 yet? No, I'm not 3. 6, am I 3? No. 7, am I 3? No. And keep going. So those are 3 possibilities. Okay. Now, if the for loop actually checked to see if the value is 3, then that 3rd possibility is actually a very good one. But that's not actually what happens. So let's see what happens here. It didn't run at all. Okay. It said, hey, this value is past this value. Okay. Now question. Let's say you wanted to go to 30. Okay. Now obviously 31 would work. My question is, how about 30.1 or 30.0001? Can we do that? Again, try it. See if it will work. Okay. Nope. Okay. It needs integers only. All right. Again, it doesn't hurt to try it. Now, we should have anticipated that. Okay. Hey, we are counting. Okay. It doesn't make sense. Why, if you want to go up to 30, why even deal with rational numbers or real numbers? Okay. We should be dealing with just integers. Okay. All right. So that gives you a little bit about range. Let's see here. So it doesn't matter. How about 102 down to -102, and we go a step -3. Okay. There we go. Only get to -99. Okay. We're not going to get to 102. And start 102. So each 3. Okay. All right. Now, question. We can leave this off. We can leave this off. But can we put the 3rd value here and leave off the 1st? No, because then it will say this is the 1st, this is the 2nd, and there is no 3rd. So maybe you're thinking you can do something like this. Okay. Now this would work in some programming languages, but let's see if it works in Python. Okay. Let's see if it takes that as a default of 0. Let's see what happens. No, doesn't like it. Okay. So we're going to need a 0 here. And of course this will not run at all because this is already going to be the past value. But anyway, let's just show you that. Yep, won't run. So we need a -3 if we're actually going to run that. Okay. So there is our for and our range. Okay. So hopefully you understand that. All right, next. String. Now, we've already talked about name being a string. Okay? But let me ask you something. What's the first letter? The first letter is M. Easy answer. And what's the last letter? S. Well, what's another way of expressing the last letter? Well, we could say the 6th letter. Okay? S. Okay. Now, so the first letter, M. First letter, 1. Okay? The 6th letter, 6, of course. Okay, now, that's for us humans, okay? We like to count things starting at 1. You are 1. You are 2. You are 3. We don't go, something is 0, then you are 1, you are 2, okay? We don't do it that way, okay? But that's the way the computer does it. So the first letter is M, but to the computer, it's the 0th letter. Okay? So the S is the 5th letter. Okay? So, now to actually specify that, now this is not an assignment. Okay? I'm just saying that the 0th element is equal to M. Now, strings are what we call immutable. In other words, you cannot change them. It took me a couple of weeks, maybe a little longer, to get that through my thick skull. Okay? Because every time I tried changing, I said, hey, I changed it. But then I kept learning, I just made a new one. Okay? It took me a while to get understanding. So we can't actually make this assignment. Okay? This will not work. Okay? What I'm trying to say here is if I do a print of name bracket 0, I would get M. So that probably would have been a better example of doing that. And name bracket 5 is going to print out S. All right, so let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. Let's go ahead and erase this. All right, name is equal to Marcus. Print name bracket 0. All right. And print name bracket 5. All right. Okay, so name bracket 0 is M, name bracket 5 is S. Okay. So that's how computers do it. They think of it as 0 based. Okay, they say you are 0th, you are 1st, you are 2nd. Okay, they don't call it, of course, 1st. Okay, but anyway, so it's going to take you a little while to get used to that. Okay, it's very contradictory to our way of life. So you got to think computer, think computer. All right, so let's try a for loop. Okay. But before we do that, let's learn about the last item, which is length. The length of the name is 6. Okay? All right. So let's talk about that. Now, how do we do this? Okay? How about this? For counter in length of name. Again, we got to iterate through it. Okay? So we got to say U. First M. U. A. But to actually get at that position, we're using some variable, counter. Okay? All right. And we can say print name bracket counter. All right. And let's see here. That's the wrong window. There we go. Okay. Is not iterable. Okay. Let's see here. For a counter in length name. Okay. I forgot the word range. Okay. I taught you the range. Okay, because remember, the range is actually setting up going from 0 to 6. The length of 6, the length of the name is 6. So that's going to be like what we talked about earlier for the range. Okay? So, for a counter in range of 5. So instead of here, let's pretend I said 6. So instead of 6, we're putting in the length of my name. Okay? All right. So there we go. And now we can run this. There we go. Let's see. Oh, the first MS is there. And then MARKIS. Okay? All right. Now, we cannot specify something outside of the range. For example, print name bracket 10. We cannot do this. Okay? Anything outside of 0 to 5, well, almost. Okay, we'll talk about this in a second here. All right, anything past 5 will give us an error. Okay, so let's see that. Out of range. Okay, can't do it. Now, why did I hesitate? Well, you're probably not going to like it. I know I didn't. Name -1. Okay. All right. So what's that going to give us? It's going to give us S. Okay. So what's happening here? Well, think of it as this. Marcus, Marcus, Marcus. Okay. This is 0. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Let's go backwards. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm sorry. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So we should be able to print name bracket -6. Okay. Now the question is, will -7 give us the S? Okay. So let's try that. Print name bracket -7. Okay. All right. What do you think is going to happen? Out of range. Nope. So, this was not good, but again, I like you to try things. Okay. Now, this is not the way it really sets it up. I just wanted you to think of it that way. What the negative does is says, well, I'm not going to start at the beginning. I'm going to start at the end. And we already have 0. There is no such thing as -0. Okay? I had a few students many years ago in college who put -0 for some of their answers. Okay? There is no such thing as -0. So if you want to go backwards, going to have to be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Okay? So that's what we're doing here. So 0 to 5, -1 to -6. Okay? All right. So we can try that. For a counter in range, let's see here. We're going to start with -1. We're going to go to, how about -1 times the length of name? Okay. And then we're going to go backwards. Let's see if this works. Name bracket counter. Okay, let's take a look. Again, the first thing I want to do is -1. Okay, that's the last letter of my name. And then I said -1 times the length of my name. The length of my name is 6 times the -1 is going to give me -6. So I want to go from -1 to -6. Again, -6 is going to give me my M. And I want to go negatively. In other words, the other direction. Okay. All right. See if it works. And there we are. S-I-K-R-A. Hey! What happened to our M? I'm missing the M. Why? Why am I missing the M? Because of this. You will not reach the stop. Okay? Now notice, I was able to print name bracket -6. But when you use the range, okay, it's going to put in -6 and say, hey, I've reached it. Don't go any further. So, how do I go? There. I add another -1, make it -7. Okay? Some of my students put +1. They will make it one further, and they forget they're going negative, so it's got to be -1. All right. Let's try it now. And there's my M. Okay? So please remember, you can directly, access -6 here. But if you're going to go range -1 to -1 times the length of the name, it's not going to work. You're going to add another -1. Got to go one more further because the range does not reach the end point. Okay? That's very important. Okay. Now, there's going to be a whole lot of things we can do with the subscripts, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. We'll talk about that in another video, maybe the next one. Let me decide what we're going to talk about next, okay? All right. So, again, range, start value, stop value, step. Will not reach the stop. Default start is 0. Default step is 1. If you put a step, then you have to put in a start and stop. Okay? For loop. Okay? For counter in range of 5. This says, hey, 0 to 4. Okay? Again, we're not going to reach 5. And then it keeps going. Okay? For loops are extremely popular. Okay? But I love while loops. The big difference between for loops and while loops, okay, is because the while loop is going to check for a condition at the very beginning. Okay? The for loop is only going to see, hey, have I finished doing it? Now later on you can say test a condition and break out. We'll talk about, that later, but anyway. But I like the while loop because you can test for condition immediately. Okay? But anyway, they're both very useful. Strings, you cannot change them. I forgot to show you that. Okay. Now, we've already printed name bracket 0. Okay? But one thing I cannot do is I cannot change the value. Okay? Now it seems like I should be able to, but it won't let you. Okay, watch. It's going to give me an error here. String object does not support item assignment. I cannot make an assignment. Okay? But I can do this. Set the whole name to K. And let's just print name. Did I save it? Nope. And there's my string, K. Now, I did not change name. Okay, let me repeat that. I did not change name. Okay? This took me a long time to understand because, I'm looking at it, it says, hey, I did an assignment. I changed name. No. Let me explain what happens here. All right. So the first thing is, we set name equal to Marcus. Okay? Now we could have said name2 equals, K. Okay? So all we're doing is taking a variable and assigning K to it. Okay? So what happens when I use name? Okay, let's see here. Let's see if I can bring up Paint. Okay. So right now I have got name. Let's see here. Let's consider this a pointer to name. To Marcus. Okay? We have called this, I'm going to make this much smaller. We called this name. Okay? And now I'm going to assign it to K. Oh, got to put it back here bigger. K. All right. So in some programming languages, I am changing this to point to here. Okay? But that's not what happens in Python. Python says, hey, you create another one called name, so it's just going to create a new one and call it name. It's just going to forget this one. It's gone. You've lost it. Okay? And it's going to assign it to K. All right. Now, when you learn about other programming languages like C, you'll learn about pointers. You use pointers all the time. And, this is something that C will do. Okay? You're actually saying, okay, I'm going to point it to a different place. But Python just says, hey, you've made a stupid mistake. You've called another variable name. Hey, I'm just going to pretend you know what you're doing. Forget about the first one. And I'm going to create a new one with the exact same name. So you have overwritten the values. The other values are gone. Okay? So we didn't really change name. We created another object called name and forgotten about the old one. So that's what really happens behind the scene. Now, if you want to say we changed name, you can think of it that way if you want to. For right now. Later on, I'll press you more for it. But actually, we are not changing it. Okay? And we can see that more when we do the things like, try name bracket 0 is equal to K. Okay? We can't do it because we're not changing what it points to. Okay? So in another language like, C, is that we will change the first item to point here, and then this will then go to A. Okay? So we'll just change what it points to and get rid of the M. But that's not what happens in Python. We can't change this string. Okay? We can throw it away, create another one, but we can't change strings. They are permanent. Think of a permanent marker. Once you write in it, it's there forever. Not really a permanent marker, but just pretend, okay? So, names cannot be changed. You can overwrite them, say, hey, I want to call name K now. That's fine. Python's okay with that, but you did not change name. I know I'm harping on that, but it's very important you realize that strings cannot be changed. You can overwrite them, okay? And you can put them together with other strings and assign it to another string, okay? For example, we could say name2 is equal to name plus K. Okay, that's fine. What we're doing here is we are assigning the name2 equal to Marcus, and then we're adding a K at the end. Okay, so save it. And let's see, I forgot to print it. Might help if I print it, so I want to see it. There. Okay. Name. Oh, that's because I've done name equals K. All right, let's get rid of that. There we go. Marcus K. Okay. So, for strings, you cannot change them. Okay? You can overwrite them. You can combine them with other strings to make a new string, but you cannot change them. They are 0 based. And then length, of course, tells you how the length of it. That's a special method. Okay, so you'll find a little bit of homework on the website. Please try it all before moving on to the next lesson. Okay, I know this lesson was a little bit longer. I hope, though, it wasn't too hard. Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.